Hey, coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip. Again, another episode, another submission, if you will, of the guest coach series from Football Talk with Coach Chip. Today's guest, this episode's guest, Tom Walls. Tom's been on the podcast and a couple of times, and I wanted to get him on and talk about his Canada wing offense. You're not losing your mind, and neither am I. That's right. There's 12 on offense and 12 on defense in the diagram here on the call sheet, here on the title card. They play it that way up there. But he was an American football. He is an American. Coaches in Canada, and he had to adjust to their system. And he talks about that a little bit. He tried doing some purely American things, double wing, stuff like that. Didn't work out for him. And he took kind of what I do. Not that he got it from me, but it's similar to what I do, as you can see. So he's got his tight end wing one way, and he's got trips the other. And so he runs a lot of stuff out of this offense, and he's using wing T blocking principles up front. And he talks about how he does it, how he did it, how they installed it, and they're very successful. They're a smaller school up there in Winnipeg, and they classify by success, kind of like Premier League soccer. So they got bumped up. They're playing at the big boys, I think, with like 2,000 students, and they got like 500. And so they're pretty successful doing this, where he has married a gun T kind of thing and come up what he calls the Canada wing offense. And we'll talk about it in a minute. It's pretty daggum cool. All right. You do see it's Football Talk with Coach Chip, presented by Just Play Sports Solutions. I thank our partners over there at Just Play Sports Solutions. All the play diagrams you've seen on this channel since 2021, videos I've made since 2021, have been from my Just Play program, my app that I've got downloaded on my computer. And it's just the best thing ever. And what happened is I've been paying for it. I've been paying for it for years. Since 2021, because it was just that good to me. And it was the best, and I could save everything no matter where I was coaching. That stuff went with me. You can upload video to it. It's not a video sharing platform like Huddle or Quick Cut. It's more than that. You can create playbooks. You can diagram faster. The easiest drawing I've done of all the ones I've used, and I've used a ton of them over the years since they started coming up with them. Even tried making up our own. It's easier than all of them. You can make your scout cards. You can add video to it. There's a place on there where you do the diagram, and then you can drag down below, write in your rules, your assignments, whatever you call them, and then you can submit several video clips if you want that demonstrate the play. And then here's what's really cool. The players get an app on their phone. So wherever they go, they've got that week's game plan. If you drew it up and put it on the Just Play, and they've got their playbook, because they're never going to lose it, because they're going to always have their phone with them, and they ain't going to lose that cockeyed phone. And you just can't beat it. So like I said, you can create video playbooks, game plans, for your players, and you upload clips from Huddle or Quick Cut or whatever it is you use to the Just Play Sports Solution app. It's unbelievable. Like I said, they'll always have it. You leave a school, this goes with you. It's your content. Why not keep it? You'll never have to lose your playbook or not know where video clips are ever again. It's your private vault and a place to create and organize content throughout your career. They got this team package. If I were back in coaching, if I took over another program, lost my mind and went back into it, we would be a Just Play school and never have to worry about drawing up plays again. The only thing we'd print out the scout cards. And honestly, you can put it on an iPad and just bring it up and show them the iPad. So that's cool too. Contact my buddy, Coach Brad Rumsey at brumsey@justplayss.com, or you can hit him up by phone, and you see the number there, and tell him Coach Chip sent you. It's just, I love it. I'm so excited and so thankful that we've entered into this partnership with Just Play Sports Solutions. All right, Gunpowder Spread System is out there. Check it out. Pause it right here. I want to get to Coach Walls, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time doing all this like I normally do, and I know you guys that watch all the time probably fast forward through it because you hear it every cockeyed video. So the system is available. Get it. How's that? The offensive line manual, still going strong. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it from me. You can get the ebook. You can get paperback. You can get both. And it don't cost any more if you get both. Okay? Get it. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not, something's wrong with you. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, come on, dude. Subscribe to the Cockeyed channel. There's no strings attached. It's free. It's the best price going in town. Check out the podcast, going strong over there. Nearly 50 episodes as I record this in April of 2025. And we got college coaches, high school coaches, middle school coaches, youth coaches, all talking ball with Coach Chip. There's no other podcast that I know of where you're going to get that diversity of guests, and all we do is just talk ball. All right, let's turn it over to Coach Walls. And we had already been talking a while when I cut in. As Coach Walls and I are prone to do when we get together, is we talk. And it just was like way too much. And it wasn't about the actual football plays. It was just talking. So we're going to come into it and just jump in right here with Coach Tom Walls and his Canada Wing offense. Yeah.
And I learned some really good lessons in these two experiences. I learned some lessons about being different, and I learned some lessons about doing what everybody else is doing. And when I did what everybody else was doing and it didn't work, I was kind of questioning whether the problem was actually me and I didn't know what I was doing. About that same time, let me skip over this picture. About that same time, Coach Hugh Wyatt comes up with a new offense. He takes his double wing and he splits out that tight end and wing into creating his open wing offense. Now, again, I had been working with Hugh a lot on the double wing. And when he announced this and started teaching this, I thought this might be exactly what I was looking for, except what am I going to do with that 12th man? Here's what we did, Coach. We put him out here in a trips formation, and we saw the creation of what we call the Canadian wing. And since then, our first series that we drew up with this extra man, we call our jet series, which is a way that we have to attack that tight end and wing side, but still have a power play over the tight end, still have a wicked counter coming back with a crisscross, having a great play action pass with the quarterback sprinting out to the tight end, having a constant RPO with your wide out and your slot, and then having a really nifty trick play called the guard around. So now we're kind of getting to the meat and potatoes of this presentation, the jet series. So I'd like to take you through this, and this is what we ran almost exclusively for about 4 years until the league started putting us up against better competition and the defensive coordinators caught up. So just as a side note about that, in the Winnipeg High School Football League, we run a lot like the Premier Leagues in English soccer. The better you do, the higher they move you up each year. Your movement in divisions is not based on school size. It's based on success.
Yeah. Some states are starting to do something like that.
It's got its pros and cons. It certainly does.
They call it competitive balance or something. Mainly they do it with private schools, but
Yeah. So Chip, the school that I'm at, and let me go back so you can see it real quick. This is the high school team that we started when my son became of age. The SCI Sabres, and SCI stands for Springfield Collegiate Institute. Our entire enrollment is 560 students. So that's boys and girls. We don't play a single opponent who's under 1,000 kids, not one. Not one. And so, in a way, it's a compliment, but you got to work the hallways when you only have 560. Anyway,
Recruit the hall.
recruit the halls. How about we get to it?
Let's do it.
So this is the base play we start off with. And we call it East 88 Reach. And I'm not going to take you through what East means, the 88 or the reach, but it's a jet sweep. Of course, if we were in California, I suppose we would call it a fly sweep. And most wing T teams will start off with their base play being buck sweep. We don't. And the reason why we don't, it goes back to those rules we talked about earlier. Our field is wider and we have 3 downs. So jet sweep or rocket, those are our base plays that we complement with the other wing T plays. So for our jet is a super simple play. It's really about timing. And the first year as that jet man comes across, we would hand it off. And then in the years went on, we went to just that open hand pitch.
I was going to ask you, do you do the little push, you pass? Yeah.
And you know what, Coach? I was thinking about this yesterday. I think we ran this better when we did the handoff instead of the pitch. Because when we did the pitch, we got looser about the timing.
Yep.
Because you have more room for error, don't you? We have this lead back come out and take number 1, and simply going to match up our wing on number 2. We do a reach block from the tight end. Although recently I've begun splitting him out and then having him just down block. Probably have this tackle down block now rather than reaching, because this kid, if he times it up right, he can cause you some problems. In years past, I've pulled the guard and have him lead up the alley as the garbage man. But Speckman, in his presentation about the fly sweep, he advises against pulling anybody out into the alley because he says they just get in the way. And this year, I don't have a particularly fast guard. So this year, I probably won't pull him and just see what Speckman says. And over here, I don't do this anymore because these guys, the center, the guard, and the tackle, if you time this right, they're really not involved in the play.
No.
So what I do, Coach, is I have them pull in the opposite direction. I give a fake pull to see who's been coaching their linebackers to key the guards. But here's where this gets useful. We run a simple RPO over here. Simple bubble screen. And so that quarterback can take it at any time. And he can throw the bubble. Also, because of this action and only having a guard and a tackle here, you've got a nice keep from the quarterback going against it. See what this looks like in person. Go in this, because this is fun. We're the team in white and red, and we're playing a team in gray that's got like 17 grade 12s on its team. And my team in white has got 3 grade 12s on it, none of whom started on offense. But this is the first play of the game. And I want you to try to listen to what the coaches are yelling. Now, our film isn't going to be as good as what you're working with in the United States. So, obviously this is from a higher angle, but it's still from a sideline. And it doesn't hurt that this kid ran an actual 4.6 in the 40. So he was super fast. But this jet sweep usage is great for 2 reasons. One, it creates outside consciousness from your opponent. So check it out, Coach. You can hear this.
I'm not hearing anything. Can you hear it?
I'm hearing it on my end. The opposing coaches are all yelling sweep, sweep, sweep. And this is our first play of the game. The second thing that this is really useful for is that it screws up your run fits for the defense, even if you don't have a kid who can run a 4.6. Hugh Wyatt likes to say you can put Venus de Milo out there as a wideout, and they've got to put a defender on her.
Absolutely.
So even if you don't have a super fast kid, if you can time up the threat of a jet, the defense simply has to respect it. And that allows you to do a bunch of other things. Let's take a look. Go ahead, Coach.
You said two things that are in when I make my jet presentation at clinics. I got a list of why jet, but two of those things are they've got to honor it. If you don't average but 3 yards a jet, that means you're probably getting a lot more on your plays off jet. And like they've got to honor it, and so, and you don't have to have a kid that can fly.
They got to honor it, and it does screw up run fits.
They disintegrate. That's the other thing that's on the list. They disintegrate before the linebacker's eyes. There are no gaps anymore.
Yeah. So what I like the most about it is I don't think that it is as expensive as a play as running an actual sweep.
Like when we put it in the summer, and then we practice it twice a week for 5 minutes at a time, running what my subscribers will tell you, the jet drill. And we'd run that jet. We didn't run jet during 11 on 11 ever. Yep. We'd work on other things. We'd run the jet drill for 5 minutes, about usually 2 days a week. And that got us through it. And in an average year counting practice, we'd do 1,500 jets.
Yeah. And Coach, if you choose to run it like Speckman, you're not even pulling a guard out there. So that's even less moving parts. I have found that one of the other things about jet sweep, rather than running a typical, say, Packer sweep, is that it's a cheap play to put in.
Oh, it's much cheaper than Buck.
Yeah. Yep.
Much cheaper. Buck is. I love Buck.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't actually consider Buck a sweep.
Oh, it's not a sweep. It's a wide power.
It is, and you're making it look like sweep. So I guess I was imagining more like a true Packer sweep, where you're really, really trying to run to the outside and get up there. But jet's easy. Jet's easy to put him. But let's go on to what we do off of this. Okay, so the first thing we teach off of this is the GO play. And maybe it's better known as down, but in the real wing T parlance, it's not down, it's GO when you have your guard kick out and your opposite guard circles up.
Yeah, we do that if there was an A-gap defender to the backside, the center would block back. Yeah. And if there was one to the play side, we'd scoop him. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the reason I like this down is quite often we'll get that end playing head up on the tight end. Let me rephrase that. The reason I like the GO rather than the old down where you would have everybody just down and the backside guard kicks out, I like this better because when we get that defender head up and I pull the backside guard, that defender is usually able to wrong arm and spill the play easier. He's got more time to step down versus this quick trap from the guard. Now, what we also do off of this, Chip, is if we get into a situation where we get that six-man front that you were talking about earlier, my strong guard, who we like to call the tip of the spear, he makes an audible call. He calls dig. And then we go to the old down play. We really do. And I've really been pleased at how quickly the kids on the offensive line pick that up. But when we run the GO, here's what we've got. That wing has got an FBI block.
First backer inside.
Or the tight end has got gap down backer, and I don't have to, I'd be telling the Pope how to say mass if I was telling that to you. The tackle, we give an unconditional down. And we like that better than having the center scoop because we can get him down. Remember, we have that yard neutral zone.
Oh, yeah. So you can get him down to an A gap D lineman. Very good.
Yes,
I
we
like
can.
that.
Yes, we can. And then we have this guard do a technique that Hugh Wyatt taught me called the pickpocket, where he's going to use his right arm or his right hand, and he's going to reach to where the pocket of that tackle would be, and he's going to push that tackle by. And what it does is it turns his shoulders into that perfect railroad tracks to kick
Right.
somebody out. Coach, it's simple. It's simple and really effective. So if your ball coach is getting nothing from this pod or from this video, try the pickpocket. It's
I
easy.
like that. I like that. We've done that technique, but I didn't call it that. I like that, though. That's
Yeah.
very good.
Our center's rule would be man on, area away. And 9 times out of 10 in Canada, he's blocking area away. And then with this guard, we have him do what we call a tight circle. If we were running buck, he would be taking a wide circle.
Mm-hmm.
But the door that opens for him is typically right here. And to do that, we have him do that little karaoke step, a grapevine, where he's going to take his left foot and he's going to put it behind his right foot and karaoke for just a half step. And that's going to keep his shoulders square. So it's really easy for him to insert himself. And then this, what we call the open tackle, he's just going to simply replace that guard and turn. And one of the things I really like about this system, because we flip-flop our linemen, so when we go west 7 GO, that open tackle is going to get over to this side. And that open tackle's job is the easiest job on the offensive line. So I know where I'm putting my young offensive linemen. And that strong guard, he's got the most responsibilities. So I know where I'm putting my most experienced linemen. It almost
Do you flip them?
Yep.
Okay.
I do. And it hasn't been a problem. And if I'm not talking too long, I'll show you what Hugh Wyatt gave me that didn't make this a problem. And it literally changed the way I coach. But what I like about flipping the lineman is I get a math algorithm that I can plug my best and my least experienced players into. So we run, go ahead, coach.
No, I'll say that's good. Yeah, go ahead.
So we run this jet and we're going to do an open handoff to the tail and he's running to the 6-man. I didn't really draw it to the 6-man, did I? I did it more to the 4-man. And that quarterback is going to ride him and then he's going to sprint out. We do this differently now than we used to, but the original version that Hugh taught me, that quarterback shuffles with him for 2, almost like he's doing that slow read that Wake Forest did this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah.
It looks like that. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't coach that well. I really don't. And those quarterbacks, they want to get out of there right away. But that's a learning point for me. And then
we teach it shuffle, shuffle. And when we're working on air with the quarterbacks, they have to audibly say shuffle, shuffle.
Yeah, maybe you can come up here, coach, and do a better job than I'm doing. And over here, we'll run that little bubble RPO. Let's take a look at this play, huh? And they are heavy with grade 12s, and we are not. There's not a single grade 12 in this lineup. And coach, if you can take a look at how they're defending us now. Be up there.
Here we go.
That's just our GO play.
Do it again. Because I was looking at the diagram a while ago and I thought like that could be very deceptive because it's almost like a single wing effect where you don't know who's getting the ball the way you had it drawn up. And I'll be John Brown. I didn't know who had the football, Tom.
Yeah. Watch number 1. He does a great ball fake. And they're already scared of him, right?
Well, he checked out on the first play of the game.
They're scared of him. And one other thing that's really interesting, you're going to see this guard run the circle. I want you to look at how small this guard is. Number 67. All right, Coach, are you ready to have your mind blown a little bit more?
Mhm.
Number 67. Maybe you look closely. That's a girl.
I was about to ask you, is that a long-haired boy or a girl? Okay.
That's a girl. Our open guard that year was a girl, and she was a good football player, but we knew that we would not be able to block anybody straight ahead. Now watch her run the circle. She's not great, but she gets through and she seals somebody off.
See her.
It's not great. Look at this big number 64. Look at the giant ass on that kid. And look
Yeah.
where, Coach, look where her head is.
Dude, he needs 5 digits because he needs a zip code.
But this has got to be about a 160-pound girl, and she is sealing to the inside, and she's not making a great hit, Coach, by any means, but she's getting in the right place at the right time.
An effective block is when you get in the way and they make the play. Nobody goes ooh and ah, but it's an effective block.
It's a 30-yard run right up the middle. And here, this is her right here. Look at that little kid. She should not be playing varsity football anywhere except for Springfield Collegiate Institute.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. You're not running a wing T system if you're not running the crisscross.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. I'll ask the kids, what's my favorite play? And they'll want to say wedge, and I'll have to correct them. Never. It's always, always, always the crisscross. All right, so let me shrink this one down. We don't run an RPO on this, although I may this year because I've got a really, really good kid out here. We just go straight up blocking, but we tell those boys to go wider. We like to tell that wide out. If that boy will follow you to the sideline and get a drink of water, you hand him a cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to go classic wing T on the open side. That means this open tackles rules are going to be gap double backer, not down, because we're going to go for a double team here if we can get it. The guards rules are going to be gap double nose. The center's going to have the same rule he always does, man on, area away. And this is another neat thing about the system, Chip, is by giving your center the same rule every time, all he has to really concentrate on is
snapping.
Jesus, how many times do we overcomplicate it? I have never pulled a center. I'd like to, but I don't want to fix what's not broken. We're going to have this, and again, this is our strong guard. He's going to pickpocket the center and he's going to kick out the end. Our strong tackle is going to do that karaoke step and he's going to go up into the lane. Our tight end replaces and turns. And here's where this gets fun. And this does take some coordination. Your jet back is going to come across. When he reaches the quarterback, he's got to veer wide and get out of the way.
Run the hump.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I do it when he gets it too.
Okay.
Unless that defensive end is really fast, we can whiff him sometimes. And if we time it up right, that's why I pull a guard. We don't have to block a 3.
Okay. So I tell him that the wingback has right of way. The wingback is the New York City bus and you are the taxi. No, the wingback is the New York City bus and you're the Canadian tourist in a Hyundai.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because we, on more than one occasion, have had these two kids collide. And I'm always worried about that concussion. So here's where this gets fun too. Quarterback takes the snap. That tailback steps in front and takes the ball, but he doesn't take it like he's taking a handoff. He doesn't get that inside elbow up. All he does is put his hands out like a plate. And the quarterback hands him the ball because as soon as he gets that ball, he's got to then hand it off to the wing. After he hands it off, he's got to set up here and block for anybody who's trying to trail the wing.
Mm-hmm.
The wing does an open crossover step, and that should get his belt buckle pointed downhill. He takes that handoff, and he looks to get his hand right on the tackle's back and cut it up the seam. We've been running this play for, I don't know, since we were doing that youth football and we converted to the open wing. And it is a doozy. Let's take a look at it. Again, forgive the nature of the film, but you'll see that jet come across and you'll see the defense start to react to it.
Yep.
And it's a really simple, effective play. Let's bring it back. I don't have a lot to break down on this for you, Chip, because the defense does it for us. And here's something that's really interesting about this too. When you get defenses that want to go into the 6-man front, they got to bring somebody up to play defensive end who's not normally a defensive end. They got to bring up a linebacker. They got to bring up a DB. And that kid is just going to shoot the gap. He's not going to wrong arm. He's not going to step down. And that makes your kick out so much easier.
Yep.
In fact, Chip, I tell you this. With the prevalence of the passing game now, defensive ends are more likely to pass rush off the snap of the ball than they are to wrong arm. So the idea of wrong arming is becoming a lost art amongst defensive ends.
Yep, it is because, well, heck, it's the 7-on-7s and
yes, yep,
and you got and when the skill guys are 7-on-7, what are the linemen doing? Working on pass block and pass rush.
Yep.
In every high school defensive end, all the drills they post on the internet, they don't post people squeezing, they don't post people wrong shouldering, they post pass rush, and I actually think the NFL is going back in the other direction as far as the offenses go with running the football. So it's going to trickle down and get back to they're going to put a modicum, they're going to put a premium on being able to play the run again.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Chip, by the time that happens, I'm probably going to be retired and doing what you're doing.
It's crazy. But that's why so many people are running odd fronts now too. I firmly believe that because it's easier to coach it.
Oh God, it's easier to coach it. Jesus, do you know how hard it is to coach the wing T?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. You got to be a detail-oriented guy. So again, it's been run since 1952, right? Anything that's been around since 1952 has got to get your attention. Unless, of course, you're a young guy and you just want to throw the ball.
I like the way the running back handed that thing off to the wing back so nonchalantly.
Oh, God, let's look at it again.
It was just so, it was like, oh, here it is. Y'all watch the running back coming right at us. Not the jetter, the trail right there. It's like, and it's obvious y'all rep this thing a lot because it wasn't, you see them sometimes, you see they'll put their head down in there and they'll stick that thing in there and make sure of the handoff, but he just put out there
we tell those running backs on the crisscross to go slow because we want the defense to see them with the ball.
Yeah. That's a good coaching point.
Yeah.
Say that again.
I actually discovered this when I was coaching girls football and we ran the crisscross. We want the running back to go slow because we want the defense to see him with the ball.
That's a great coaching point. I love it.
Let's grab the play action pass off of this.
All right.
Okay. So the title of the play action pass is called E6 Green. And again, it's a Hugh Wyatt term. Anytime we have a color in a play, that means it's a pass. And green means guard right. Because what we're doing on this play is we're going to have this wing chip the defensive end. Kind of like you would if you were running buck. And then he's going to run an arrow. But the reason we have him chip is this guard is going to take a deeper pull step. He's not going to pickpocket. And he's going to hook the end. Because the quarterback is going to do that shuffle, and then he's going to sprint out. We do different things with the jet back. We typically don't have him jet towards where we're running. We have him jet away. But, DCs are smart. If you do nothing but jet away, they're going to call play action pass as soon as you do it. So sometimes we'll have him do it towards the play. And when he gets out here to the numbers, we tell him to hang out there, float. And if the quarterback's in trouble, we're doing scramble drill.
Yeah.
We're going to have the tight end do a 4-step corner. We do that's kind of neat. If a team plays that end head up on the tight end, the quarterback, or it's not the quarterback, the tight end is going to call switch. And the wing and that tight end are going to switch jobs. The wing will do a 4-step corner, and the tight end will jam and roll out an arrow. Simple. Kids can handle that.
Oh, yeah, they can. That's good stuff, man.
Simple, simple, simple. And you know what? You introduce that in the beginning so they don't feel panicked with it. And then that gives them ownership over the play. And then that gives them, they're less likely to demand new plays when they get audibles on their plays. On the open side, works Chip, but Hugh Wyatt, the center, after checking his A gap, steps down, and the tackle steps down, and they pass block in a wall, and the guard hinges back. It works. I don't know why it works better than having just standard gap pass blocking, but it works. Over here, we run a deep middle. We'll run a drag, but these guys really don't get the ball very often. And that tailback is going to sell 6GO, and he's going to fill for the tight end. Let's take a look. This is not the greatest film on this, but it gives you a great idea of where that tight end can just sit in a zone. So, again, it's not the best film on it, but maybe what's really useful here, Chip, is you can see the guard getting out and getting a beautiful hook on that defensive end. Here's the guard right here.
Yep.
If anything, the quarterback, who's my son, should be rolling out more. He should be pressing the sideline. But he had a nice touch on the ball. And you can't argue with a 20-yard play. Okay, let me give you one more. And I see that I'm pushing up against my time. This is fun.
I'm having a blast.
Good, coach. Maybe it's just me that's getting tired. This is our trick play. We run a guard around off of this. And we run it just like we're running that 88 reach, just like we're running that jet sweep. But a couple of players do something different. First, our tackle. His rules are going to change on this play. His rules are going to become outside on gap. We're almost guaranteed he's going to have somebody outside just because of our lineup. Yep. So he's going to block that man out. For our open guard, his rules are going to change also. He's going to have on gap nose. And this is one of our rule breakers. If he's got somebody on him, we're going to ask him to do what we don't like to ask these guys to do. And that means block straight ahead and try to hook this guy. Our guard, no, let me go to the center. The center is not going to snap the ball. He's just going to hold it between his cheeks. The guard is going to pull to the left, take the ball, and run up in this alley. And we're betting that this linebacker has been undisciplined and he's running to the sideline. The quarterback is actually going to jump up in the air and turn around as if the ball has been snapped over his head. Now, before I show you this, the guard turning to the sideline and getting the ball, That's legal in Canada.
About to say, I don't think you can do that in the States.
No, you have to have him turn his back to the line of scrimmage.
To make it legal.
That makes it legal and get the ball. And you know what, coach? That might make the play better because it's another half second, quarter second that those linebackers are trying to get to the sideline. It might improve the play. Let's take a look at it.
All right.
Now, I'm sorry that the audio is not working because if you look down here, this is my wife sitting up in what we call the Baywatch chair announcing the game. And nobody is going to touch the guard on the guard around. And you may or may not be able to hear her, but she's going to say something like, "Oh, I totally missed that play."
All right. All right, rewind it.
Here's the guard.
I see him.
There's the gap.
And the linebackers are vacating the premises.
This one is standing still. This one is standing still. This guy is following the jet back. And so again, coach, when you have 160, 170 pound guards, this play works pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was the old Homer Smith quote. You know, when Homer Smith invented the run and shoot, he did it because he had a little
Tiger Davis, yeah.
Tiger. Okay, so maybe I guess it would have been, maybe it was whoever did the polecat.
Or Mouse Davis.
No. Mouse Davis is up in Portland.
Tiger Ellison, then.
Yes. And his saying was, we put this in. There was a polecat. It was not run and shoot. He said, we put the polecat in because we had a bunch of little shits that year. And he said, funny thing is, you put those little shits out in space and they do pretty well.
Yeah.
So if you got some little shit guards, a guard around is not the worst play. Now, the other thing, this team we're playing, at least this day, they weren't very good. But I had a guard who was what I would call a nasty son of a bitch. And we ran this play and he got a linebacker right in his face. And because that linebacker's eyes are somewhere else, that guard hit the kid, ran him over, put him out of the game, and went on to a touchdown, right? That's probably the clip I should find in the future for this.
We used to do this when we were a single wing team. We called it BS for bad snap, where we would tell the fullback and the tailback, which were the guys back there getting the snap, to jump up in the air and run backwards like the ball went over their head. Meanwhile, the center had snapped it to the blocking back.
Yes.
And we were running wedge.
Yes.
And we called the fullback wedge, and we'd say BS. And that told them to fake the bad snap. BS for bad snap.
You know, Coach, it's funny you say that. 2 years ago, before we went to this, we call it a heavy formation. Kenny calls it the beast formation. This is what we talked about earlier, 3 backs running straight ahead. When we would run our wedge, we didn't want to get under center anymore because we mostly work at a shotgun. But trying to hand the ball off for a wedge and shotgun kind of defeats the point. We used a direct snap right to the tailback, and he just got up in the wedge. And we found it hits just as fast as when you have that quick handoff in the wedge. So, there's all kinds of ways of doing the wedge. You don't have to go directly to wedge under center.
Yep.
Okay. So that's my Jet series. We do have some fun stuff that we do over to the Rocket series, But here is what I would like to try to do as the big takeaway. Actually, before we do that, let me share one more thing with you because I think this is great. This changed my coaching, and I got this from Hugh Wyatt. We run a wrist coach system that just about everybody does, but each player on our team has their own wrist coach.
Yep.
Some teams do that, right? But here's what's different. Each player on our team has a position-specific wrist coach.
Right.
So in this example, lists off the number of the plays, lists off the name of the plays, and the assignment column is different for every player. Now, that's
we use the politically incorrect term. We call them dummy bands.
No, coach. I think that these are IEPs, individual education plans for your players.
We'll have to use that.
And so a couple of things to soapbox about this, and then I'm going to give you another hidden way that it's been really useful. The IEPs, players not having to memorize their plays, worth its weight in gold. The ease of install, worth its weight in gold. The lessening the learning curve when you've got somebody who's got to fill in at a spot at short notice, worth its weight in gold. But this is laborious to do. We've got 12 offensive positions in Canada. We have about 40 plays to run. 12 times 40, I think it's 480. So I have to do 480 individual assignments. And guess what happens? I make a mistake.
I did that too. I'll send this to you. I have a wristband creator on an Excel spread file. Yeah. You feed in the master, you put down everything, and then it creates every position for you.
I have a feeling that that would probably be that would be much easier for me, but like an old school carpenter, the amount of effort it would take me to unlearn what I've learned to do the wrong way would also be laborious. But here's the last thing I want to leave you with for this. And this isn't the big takeaway. I'm going to get to that. If you notice, each individual play is in either red or blue. That tells the player which side of the formation they're lining up on.
Oh, red right, blue left.
You got it. Yep. So my open tackle, I can flip-flop him easily. He doesn't even have to listen. He doesn't have to memorize anything in the formation. He just has to look down. Oh, I can give you one more too, coach. Check this out. These are the 3 cards that they would have in their wristband. The plays in white, those are on our first hut. The plays in gray are on first sound. The plays in blue, second hut.
I like that too.
Don't have to announce a snap count. I mean, we do, but you don't have to.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what we used to do. Everything to the right was on 2. Everything to the left was on 1.
Okay. Okay. You know that.
But I like that.
Let's cut down on what we're asking kids to memorize.
Yep.
So let's do the big takeaway, huh? And then I got to go get on the Peloton.
Yeah, because you ain't going for a run today.
No, I could do it. Coach, the DC on our team, Coach Marcel Pellin, we've been coaching together for about 10 years. And 3 years ago, we had a blood pact that we were going to run for 4 months. And we picked the 4 months. It culminated in a half marathon. But our blood pact was that we were going to run in 30 below and we were going to run in 30 above. And 30 above translates to 90 degrees.
Oh, that's right, because y'all are on that cockeyed metric.
We speak communist up here.
Yep.
Wife is back in the room. Anyway, so let's wrap this up, huh? So in the words of the immortal Dr. Ho, but wait, there's more. Since we've been running this system in Canada, we started in 2016 and we went 4-4. 2017, we went 7-2. 2018, we went 9-0.
There you go.
2019, we went 7-1. 2021, we went 7-0. 2023, 22, 6-3. Okay, so I want to pause right there. This is kind of the graphic we started off with. I am absolutely convinced that we've had such success because we were that black pawn amongst all the white ones. And I think that the Canadian rules, that unlimited motion, the 3 downs, it really lends itself to everybody being identical offensively. Everybody is running 5R. And please remember, in Canada, that means you still have a running back when you're doing 5R.
That's right.
And that also means the defenses are pretty vanilla too. They are a 4-3-5. And when you start becoming that black pawn, you allow that school of 560 students to have a fighting chance. Now, here's the next part though. Check this out. When we went 6-3, I realized that the DCs were starting to catch up with us and they were pushing us up into those premier divisions. So we really were playing some elite Canadian high school teams. And as I say that, I suppose in the back of my mind, I can hear some real ball coaches down south snickering at the phrase elite Canadian teams. But when you get to this elite level, you really get some kids who can play and you get quarterbacks who can chuck it. So I realized that if we were moving up and we weren't so special anymore, we needed to do something different. So in 2023, we added that Rocket series from Blair Hubbard, and we went 7-2. And this year, we got pushed up into the most elite bracket, and we went 6-3 again, and we finished 4th out of those 33 teams in Manitoba. And when you consider that we were 560 students, we were sometimes playing against schools with 2,000 kids. So we were no longer really that black pawn. We changed our colors a little bit to green. Now, Coach, you know about all of this. This is still not my big takeaway. Here's the big takeaway. Oh, I'm sorry, I did put the stat there. Great. Okay. This team in blue that says Raiders, that was one of the teams we lost to this year. And this is one of their defensive linemen. He's 6'3", 300 pounds, and he's going off on a full scholarship to play out west. That's my strong guard in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas is a wonderful young man, and I saw him put up 300 pounds on the bench press just the other day. But, Coach, he weighs 165 pounds. So, if you're in this situation, if you can't be better,
You're right.
be different.
I was waiting for a chance to say it, but thank you for saying it for me.
I'm stealing your thunder, or as I would like to say it, here's what I tell the kids. If you're David, don't play by Goliath's rules.
That's right. Don't wear all that heavy armor. Don't try to swing that big sword. Do what you know, get where you can operate, get your slingshot, and go get you 5 smooth stones.
Yeah. And so, Coach, last year, my guards, 165 pounds. And at the end of the season, my other guard told me how much he actually weighed and how much he had been lying to me all season long. He might have been 150 pounds. Do you think we can block that big number 78 straight ahead?
No, you can't even double team him.
Coach, my kids go to the provincial teams tryouts and they're cut right away. And when they come home and they tell me I was too small, I say, you're in the right place. I've got you. And let's just do this. I'm not making those numbers up.
No. No, but it's the magic. Okay, so you're using a little smoke and mirrors with your
Yep.
handcuffs and all that.
Absolutely.
And you're using gap scheme blocking, so you're not going up against those 300-pounders,
Yep.
mano a mano. You're using angles and leverage,
Yep.
and that's the difference. And I'm sure there's a lot of coaches up there that don't like you.
Oh my God. Thank you.
You're breaking the rules.
I will pay you for this therapy session. Thank you. And coach, what makes it worse? They hate getting beaten by the American.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. And that was very gratifying. Thank you. I wish my wife had been in the room to hear that. But here's really the big takeaway. Our job as coaches is more important than having more wins than losses. Our jobs as coaches is doing right by kids like this little guard. We've given him a football experience he'll remember for the rest of his life.
All right, coaches, that's it for this episode of Football Talk with Coach Chip. This has been another edition of the Guest Coach Series. Thank you so much, Coach Tom Walls, the head football coach. And I never can remember the name of that school. It's so a long name. Names in Canada are different. It's something Collegiate Institute, but it's up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And thanks so much for Tom sharing with us. And you can see in the diagram that they used 12 players on offense and 12 on defense. I like the idea of 12 on offense. I'm not so crazy about 12 on defense, but that's just my opinion. The proud presenting sponsor of Football Talk with Coach Chip, Just Play Sports Solutions. You pause this, look at all the great things they can do for you. I love mine, been drawing my diagrams for my teams and for you guys on the YouTube channel since 2021. Contact Coach Brad Rumsey. And you can see right there, it's brumsey@justplayss.com, or you can hit him up by phone. And you see the number, and please tell him old Coach Chip sent you. The old man in the mountain sent you over to Just Play Sports Solutions. Be sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe to the channel, look at this. Over 50 free resources available to you. All you got to do is say, hey, Coach, send me this. Guys, do me a favor. When you email me, don't put numbers. I know the numbers are there, but I don't know why I did that. Kind of abbreviate. Like if you want the 97 Nebraska playbook, right? 97 NEB PB or something like that. A lot easier to find it because some of y'all aren't getting what you asked for on the first try and getting more than you asked for. And it just makes it a lot easier. All right, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and you've already done those things. You know what's left now for you to do? Share the video channel. Head over to the podcast on Spotify and Apple and wherever else you catch your podcast and check out nearly 50 episodes of Football Talk with Coach Chip, the podcast. Thanks again to the creator of our theme music, Brian Hale at Hale Yeah Digital. It's haleyeahdigital.com. To whatever kind of digital needs you need, creatively, artistically, you head on over there. Brian Hale at Hale Yeah Digital. All right, coaches, until next time, y'all, be elite. All video clips contained on Football Talk with Coach Chip are meant for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this falls under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act, Section 107.